Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equities Story. I'm with the amazing Wolf, and this is just a general share advice and not personal. Wolfie, how you doing, mate? Wolf, I woke up at 3 in the morning. I looked at the Dow. It all looked very, very good. I was quite happy. And then what happened? What happened?
Nightmares came through. It's the good old market skittishness on some talk by the Fed or some other, commentary coming out of the US. And in this case, the Fed talking about, hey guys, okay, we've seen some numbers, right? That's looking positive for inflation, looking positive for potentially a soft landing in the US economy. But don't forget, it's not like the end, this is the end. We're going to pivot all of a sudden and, we're going to start dropping rates. We still have to keep lifting and still keep a pretty tight rein on this because we need to get this down, right? It's not just we've stopped at 8% inflation and our job is done. We actually need to lower this down. So, of course, the market went, oh, what? Oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. So it's honestly like children. Surely. I mean, if you've got some common sense, you'd go, of course, it's going to be a process. It's slowing down. Inflation's slowing down. The interest rate rises are slowing down. It's all going to take a little time to pivot. It's not going to pivot overnight. And this is what pretty much they were saying, right? It's what might get going a little bit while longer, but maybe the market was just, we want it now type stuff. And,
it's amazing. It's amazing how the nature of the market is so childish, isn't it? The way it moves.
Tantrums to the front and center, isn't it? It's just,
it moves up and down on baby talk, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think in the past it was ever quite skittish.
No, because there was, look, we've got an age of traders, right? The Reddit traders, the mums and day traders, the algorithmic traders, and unfortunately, this is the power of them. They can move the markets up and down on any given hour, depending on commentary, and that's how they make the trading and life difficult for everyone else.
Right. When are those CPI numbers? They're coming out, I think, at the end of the month or 21st in America.
Good question. We talked about it earlier this month, didn't we? And I think it was coming up shortly. So let me just have a look at the calendar again. And I'm looking through the trading economics, which everyone should actually have as part of their tools to trade. So let's go down to the day CPI numbers. Hang on. We want big ones, consumer. I'm looking mission consumer. Okay, so we've got retail sales on the 18th of January. And then we've got going down. Here we go. Housing permits, jobless claims, all on the 19th of January. So we've got towards the end of the month, like you said, we've got the big stuff coming up, which will probably decide which way we go. And then we've got PMI flash type stuff on the 25th. So there's a little bit of information coming through in the next couple of weeks for sure.
I mean, that's going to be the game changer, really, Wolf. And the market, as a result, the market's still nervous. Stock market's still looking at value stocks. We're going to have a look at a number of those later. Pretty quiet, Wolf. I mean, I saw, we went for the hot stocks with gold. Gold is still up, funny enough, even after that, even after that Fed announcement. So gold is still looking strong, and hopefully Newcrest and Evolution do move with gold. We had one gold play worth a mention, Dave, which had an announcement, WAF.
Yeah, just bring it up, open it up and just bring it up, because it's actually other information, not the actual results that were the interesting bit of it. It's the what's happening over the next few months, years, right? That was the key for me here. And by the way, the actual inflation core numbers, Dave, are coming up on the 14th, which is on Thursday in the US.
Okay, all right.
So they're coming up in the next 4 days.
All right. Okay. Well, that's what makes me a little bit nervous. Maybe they're not. The Fed giving a little bit of a warning today.
Yeah, look, but they have to, because this market is just like complete amateurs, right? It's they go from one extreme to the next. They get euphoric one day, then depressed the next. So the market is just trying to lead them by the hand, saying, there's still plenty to go. There's still information that's still out there. We need to check, make sure everything's okay, and we're going to take it step by step.
So here's the announcement.
All right. So look, while the initial announcement was okay, 20 meters at 2.98 and so on, that was nice. It's the actual other parts in here that were quite interesting. So just keep going down where they actually talk about what's next, right? Keep going down. Further down, and you'll see that little, what's going to happen now. So we know that this is quite a nice. Oops, where was it? Where was it? Maybe it's right at the top. Apologies. Maybe it's right at the top. So I did read it here. So here we go. So I made a mineral resource. It is right there. So I made a mineral resource for MBE3. It will be reported later in quarter 123. So that's something to look forward to with WOF, right? WOF's annual resource and reserve update, a 10-year production outlook. Fantastic, right? I mean, this is going to be key here type stuff. And a 2020 production and cost guidance. So we're going to have a lot of information that is actually quite pivotal and market moving for something like WOF. Definitely worth following this through. And then they're talking about West African reserves entering a significant growth phase. And this is the key here as well. If you're looking at companies that you want to trade maybe for the longer term, find ones that production is increasing and they're going to have a pretty good outlook, right? And this looks like one of them, as we aim to be a 400,000 per year gold producer by 2025, which is what, 2 years away, right? Let's call it 2.5 years away. Dave, at 400,000 ounces per year, you are probably going to be trading at least $1 billion to 2 billion market cap, I'd say, right? As long as you're profitable on that. So yeah, it'll be quite interesting to see where it's going to end up in the next 12 months, WOF.
And Wolf, I'm just checking. I've got their market cap is about 1.2 billion at the moment.
Yeah. So I'd say, look, good case scenario, probably 2 billion. So maybe a doubler from here, right? Probably on a weak scenario, probably $1 billion. So it might not go anywhere over the next, say, 12 to 24 months. So I'm thinking doubler. I'm thinking, if they can play the cards right, it could go quite well. But you never know, depending obviously gold prices as well where they head.
So what you're saying is that one could have a view on this stock as a long-term play and play it off a monthly where it's, it's for the last 3 years, it's held that monthly.
100%. I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Because you've got a company that's actually producing cash flows and a production update. This is like any other resource company. When you look at, say, Fortescue in the early days, when they had their production, when you're looking at where the next year or the year after, where it's going to be production, well, you knew that they're going to grow. They're going to double their production, they're going to double again, and so on. And that's what it gets, just driving these sort of companies forward. And you can see potentially something like that happening here with WOF. But of course, it's the underlying commodity that's all probably the key here, where they're going to end up.
So, Wolf, there's an interesting risk reward in this play, definitely. I mean, if you had that long-term point of view, you've most probably got a sort of, targeted that sort of 180, 190 over 2 years, 3 years. And your downside is 20%, your upside is most probably 60, 70%.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. So that's why I don't mind this as a play on the back of that production growth. And, like I said, if everything falls into place for them, so gold is quite high, there's no issues in West Africa, right? Which is also very, very important. And they hit that production target by 2025, 400,000. You could see this reasonably, I suppose, positively saying, get close to that $2 for sure.
I like that, Wolf. We're going to put that one as a trade. What I would like to just remind everybody, we're actually going to, we're going to look to buy this under that sort of 119. It's going to be more of a sort of, I'd say, 1 year growth type story. Maybe trending, but 1 year.
High risk, high risk growth story. Yeah. I mean, you can definitely call it a growth story because it is growing, right? It's growing its production. So I can understand coming from there, but it's got to be high risk because it's in a commodity space. It's in West Africa. It's got other things.
Well, we know with gold, we never know, right? So.
That's exactly. We're bullish one day, bearish the next.
Okay, this is a very long-term play, and the stop loss is on a monthly chart. So, by the end of the month, it's got to hold above that 98. And an interesting gold play, Wolf. And I like this because what you're saying, that uptick in revenue and that uptick in production, it ticks a lot of boxes. It certainly makes sense.
Yeah, look, for the long termer out there looking for that longer term growth story, perfect setup, isn't it? You've got a 97 cent stop, like you said, good upside, fairly small downside.
Yeah, as long as we don't get too many problems in Burkina Faso.
We're going to be watching it now. I mean, it's going to make our, top tier list where we're going to be have to watching, make sure everything's going okay.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's funny because we're going to talk about something else at the moment, and we're going to talk about an article in Livewire.
Yep.
And if you bear with me, I'll bring this.
It also makes the list there, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'll bring the article across. There we go. There you go. Okay. So it's actually on that list as well, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's cheap at the moment, Wolf, as well. It's actually only trading on a P of around 5. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about this article because there's an interesting article about 29 stocks that valued over 1 billion, trading on single-digit Ps. And the question is, are they cheap? And we're going to have a look at these stocks. And what I thought we'd do, Wolf, is just go through them, and I'd like your opinion out of any of these stocks. Which are the ones that would really interest the Wolf?
Look, interesting, Dave. Before we go on, most of these probably going to be big dividend payers, right? So I'd say a lot of them could easily make. Am I looking for a dividend play? Yes, type of stuff. So. Look, probably when we go through them, I'll go growth, yes, dividend, yes. And if it ticks both boxes, then if it's on there, maybe on the chart, maybe there's a nibble here, right?
Yeah. Okay. So these are the stocks. So what I'm going to do is that, you can see mostly trading all around. You know what, Wolf? There is value here. Trading around these Ps of 7.
Absolutely. And even the 10 is probably value, but is it a value trap? So that's what we're going to do.
All right. So
we're going to go through them.
Maybe you go through. I'll take this away and I'll.
Okay. I'll go through them for you, and you just put them on your charts. So let's start with S32.
Right. So that's actually sorry, that's a monthly with a buy signal.
Wow, that's pretty good though. Long term about that.
But actually that daily doesn't look too bad actually, Wolf, does it?
Look, overall, I've always liked the company, right? Because I like their spread of metals that they've got, the commodities they're actually playing. And if you look at the long term, the trends that we're going through at the moment, with the EV revolution, with going to renewable energies and so on, a lot of these commodities they've got will probably play a prominent part in that stuff. So I like it. Were there going to be fluctuations in the next few years? Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. But if you take a longer term view, I think they're going to be trying to grow this company significantly. So I like it from the long point of view. I'm going to give it a tick.
All right. Okay. Next cab off the list. Wolf, we're not going to go for everyone because there's too many, but Sonic. Now, it's in a bit of a downturn, so I'm trying to look on this as a monthly, if I can give it a little bit of, and again, on monthly, it's looking a little bit weak. So, I don't like this. I don't like the...
Dave, look, just from my point, obviously you're not going to like this on the charts, right? Because it's just below the trend. But is this a value trap? Possibly. I mean, if you look at just at the short term, I'd say that the PE will go up because they're post-pandemic now, so they had a really incredible period where the revenues and bottom line spiked significantly. So potentially you could see PE blowing up from here, which is possibly a value trap here. However, longer term, I'm liking this at these levels because if you look at the longer term stuff, it will bounce back because it's still growing in its core markets. Don't worry about pandemic. Core markets still growing, in the high single digit numbers here. So I'm still liking this longer term, but I think generally speaking, we've got to wait for better charts, unless you've got some crazy long-term views, then maybe you can have a nibble here, but I'd rather see a bit more movement out of this and maybe another update in February.
Okay. Now, Wolf, there's a few coal plays on here, and I will put those down as trending only.
Yep.
Because we know it's going to be very, very volatile.
Yep.
Now, one that's interesting is IPL. What's your view on IPL?
Well, we've got it as a dividend stock at the moment, right? So at the moment it's going through a pretty good period, but it's got a lot of moving parts to it and a lot of issues that be outside of the control, like prices of gas and so on, so power, electricity. And so for me, Dave, I look, I'm going to just keep it as purely as a dividend play, nothing else.
Okay, all right. Going for it, one of your more favored retailers, JB Hi-Fi, is on that list.
Yep.
With, you're looking at with a pretty undemanding P of 8.9%, 8.9, sorry. Wolf, very good.
Yeah, and we've seen yesterday's nice charts of some of these retailers, right? You think to yourself, where are they going to be in 12 months? That's what I'm going to ask myself. Where can I see them in 12 months? Where do I see the markets? What do I see the economies going in Australia, say, for the next 12 months? And when I look at my own opinions, and I don't think we're going to have a really bad, disastrous year, I think that JB once again will probably do better than people expected. Right? So I'm still sticking to the theory that this is going to be a good dividend play. Nothing else, just a dividend play.
All right, Wolf. Is there any other special ones that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I mean, look, probably let's have a look at that one, because this is another one of those longer term type plays, right? Where it's looking cheap, but if you take the long term, just like a S32, if you take the long term view, and we talked about this could be a great winner again. So probably from your point of view, that looks good on the charts.
We've got one of the stocks that's actually trending this week, which is SMR. Again, just a trending story, but again, you look at these coal plays. I mean, they are at the moment with the coal price, which is definitely a trap. There's no question about it. But as coal stays up, you could see them trending up even higher, Wolf.
Yeah, absolutely. Short term,
short term,
see them keep going, right? A little while and have little ups and downs, right? Where you can have a little trade here and there.
I could see the Brits getting on there. So again, we've got VUK 8.9%. I think that's getting more to where these sort of stocks should trade, around 8, maybe 9%. Correct? I mean, banks tend to be maybe 12% at most. We're not too far away from value there, Wolf, are we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing. Look, I'm just sort of wondering myself, is this a value trap for UK? Because first of all, I don't know much about the UK, what they're going through. They're probably still turmoil a lot. But
listen, I think there is a lot of turmoil in Europe. I certainly still think it's going to be less in the UK than it is going to be in the Eurozone, but I think anything in Europe, you'd be a bit nervous.
Okay, let's look at the last one, Dave, and that's probably going to be Elders. And this is the one that really surprised us when they dropped so significantly on the back of that CEO leaving. And it is struggling at the moment, trying to hold that 10, but it's just not quite there. So what do you put this one? Value trap, or this is a really good value story? So I think longer term, this is a great value story. Short term, I think the market still got it wrong. I still think so, because it's not as if they said in the report that they're going to, go into a negative growth this year. They're still going to grow by the looks of things. So at 9 times PE, as long as they can still execute and find a new CEO, I just think that this has just been oversold for me.
So this is one that you like. Yeah, listen, technically, this is only for value investors, Wolf. I can't give this a tick of approval. Obviously, it's below water. But there's some interesting ideas there, Wolf. And again, it's interesting to see the stock that we're putting on as a long-term trade today. WAF is actually on that list as a pretty cheap gold play.
Yeah.
What's interesting, if they lift their production, this could be down to what appears 3 or 2. So
yeah, look, like I said, this is a long-term play. They still obviously have to build that out to get to that 400,000. So that's going to take them 2.5 years to get there. And you could have some ups and downs with production and some other. So we got to expect a little bit of volatility. But one thinks that if they can hit some of these numbers that they're talking about, and like I said, the next 3 months could be actually very pivotal, Dave, because they're going to come out with a plan telling you about the production, telling you about the costs, guidance, and everything else. So I think at the very least, with the gold prices at the moment doing quite well, short-term trade at the very least, maybe, and longer term, definitely have a think about it if you want to hold it for longer.
Well, what is interesting, you've got Evolution trading at a P of 18, and you've got Newcrest trading on a P of 21. I understand there's a little bit more, obviously, more risk with Burkina Faso than
just a touch.
Just a touch. But you could argue there's a bit of value there, right?
You'd think so.
All right. On that note, I'd like to thank you, Wolf. We come up with an idea today. Always something. Now we're live tonight.
Yes.
7:30. Claude will be with us. Guys, you have to use Ask the Analyst Live. It's the best service we do. You can ask us any question you want on any stock you own. There's no you are not trading alone. We're trading together. We're here to give you the general share advice on all the stocks. So use the service and use the advice, because dare I say it, I think we don't get too much wrong.
Yeah. Well, we don't get anything wrong, Dave.
Well, I do. All right,
yeah.
See you, Wolf.
Well, when you do get something wrong, you blame it on me.
All right, see you, Wolf. Take care, mate.
Good night.
Bye. Bye.